ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. We're going to take this moment to pause for the playing of our national anthem. And ladies and gentlemen, I am Joseph Moore and welcome you into Alabama State softball. Today's matchup, the Alabama State Lady Hornets will take on the Georgia State Lady Panthers. Again, I'm Joseph Moore bringing you today's action today. Let's get your starting lineups for today's matchup between Georgia State, coached by Angie Nicholson, who comes in 6-11 on the year. Batting off first, number 19, center fielder, Emily Brown. At second, number 7, right fielder, Ashton Schroyer. Also batting third, number 9, second baseman, Chloe Nadler. At third base, number 6, Bailey Richardson. Your designated hitter, batting in the fifth spot, number 3, J.C. Goodwin. In the sixth spot, your catcher, number 14, Carolyn Deddy. At shortstop, number 2, Emma Yanes. At first baseman, number 12, Abby Brown. And finally in the ninth spot, your left fielder, number 1, Chloe Middlebrooks. Pitching tonight, number 11, right-handed pitcher, Elle Doolittle. And your Alabama State Lady Hornets, who come in 9-3 on the year, coached by Todd Bradley. Batting first, number 2, left fielder, Madison Myers. Batting second, number 1, center fielder, Kendall Doremus. At right field, number 5, Alexia Denby. At designated hitter, number 27, Alex Preston. In the fifth spot, your pitcher, number 3, Bailey Greenlee. At shortstop, number 22, Kiana Parrish. Batting seventh, first baseman, number 12, Leah Richardson. At third base, number 20, Elizabeth Williams. And finally, number 14, second baseman, Jada Gardner. And also in the lineup, catching, number 34, Brooke Ramsey. And your starting pitcher tonight, with a 1.26 ERA, the senior, number 3, right-handed pitcher, Bailey Greenlee. And that is your starting lineups for today's matchup between Georgia State and Alabama State. And we're getting ready for the first pitch festivities coming in tonight.
A native of Darlington, South Carolina, she received a degree from the University of Alabama. This is her 31st year of employment with the university as an instructor of English.
And we're going to have a good game tonight. Alabama State coming off a big win against Southern last Sunday with a walk-off home run in what was a big win for Alabama State in a long HBC Celebration Classic And hopefully Alabama State can continue on their winning ways tonight as they face 6-11 Georgia State. And we're going to get ready for the first pitch here tonight. As we see right-handed pitcher Bailey Greenlee warming up here at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. And a look at some of the action. Not only do we have the game here tonight with Alabama State softball against Georgia State, but coming up at 6 p.m. right across the road, we'll have Georgia State versus Alabama State in baseball here tonight. So both teams from Atlanta heading down here to Montgomery to see what they can do against these Alabama State Lady Hornets and Hornets across the way. And as we're getting ready to come up to bat here for Georgia State, number 19, center fielder leading off, Emily Brown. And Bailey Greenlee up to bat. Up to pitch here today for Alabama State. And Bailey Greenlee with the first pitch at 5:03 p.m. and a very warm 78 degrees at first pitch here in Montgomery. The pitch count right now is 1-0. And that pitch was called ball 2. 2-0 the count, just getting started here in Montgomery. And Greenlee with the 2-0, called ball 3. As I said earlier, up to bat, Emily Brown for the Georgia State Panthers. And Greenlee with the 3-0 is called strike. Count now 3-1 for Brown. Greenlee with the 3-1 and is fouled back towards the Alabama State dugout. Full count now for Brown. And the 3-2 is fouled back towards the stands here. Brown trying to hang in here. Full count. And ball 4 will walk Brown over to first.
Now batting, number 7.
And next up to bat, the right fielder, number 7, Ashton Schroyer. And Schroyer hits it near the batting cages on the Alabama State home side. Count now 0-1. The 0-1 right over the umpire's head, and that will move Brown over to second base. Count now 1-1 for Schroyer. And Greenlee with the 1-1 as it flops over her glove past the second baseman. That will bring a run around for Emily Brown as she scores at home, making the score 1-0 here in the top of the first.
Now batting, number 9, Chloe Nadler.
I think Greenlee just needs to settle down here. She did a great job in the HBCU Celebration Classic. And she throws the first pitch, and that will be a ball. And the 1-0. And the catcher for Alabama State throws it over to second base, but Schroyer gets there just in time as Chloe Nadler, the second baseman, is up to bat. Count now 1-1. And the 1-1 for Nadler is hit into center field, and that will be out number 1 for the Panthers of Georgia State.
Now batting, number 6, Bailey Richardson.
And now up to bat for Georgia State, number 4, third baseman Bailey Richardson. One out. And Richardson pops one into foul territory on the left field side, and that will be strike number 1 for Richardson. Owen won the count for Greenlee, or Owen won the count for Richardson. Greenlee with the pitch. Little high there to my right side of the plate. And the count now will be 1-1 for Richardson. The 1-1 is popped back up into center field. Does she have it? And she does have it for the out, but safe at second base is Schroyer. Score still 1-0 here in the top of the first. And that'll reset the count here, bringing up Jace Goodwin, the designated hitter. And the first pitch, just a little outside. Count now 1-0. And Greenlee with a 1-0 is called strike. And the 1-1 pitch, way outside there, about a little high there for Greenlee. Count now 2-1. Top of the first inning. 2-1 is fouled back into the net. That'll make 2-2 the count for Goodwin. Goodwin coming in with a .312 batting average. And the 2-2. Wow. That is 3-2. Cannot believe that the ump did not call a strike on there, but the count now 3-2. The 3-2 is struck out by Goodwin. And with 1 run, no hits, and 1 error, we move to the bottom of the first inning. Your score, Georgia State 1, Alabama State 0. We'll take a timeout and be right back after this.
For Georgia State, at the
And back live here in Montgomery, Alabama State up to bat. Coming up in the top of the lineup, number 2 left fielder, Madison Myers. Madison Myers coming in with a .565 batting average on the year. And the first pitch by Doolittle is called strike. And Doolittle with the 0-1. Right on my left side of the plate there. Called ball. Count 1-1. And it is hit into left field and caught by the left fielder for for Georgia State, Chloe Middlebrooks. And coming up in the second spot, number 1 center fielder, Kendall DeRamus. One out for Alabama State, and the first pitch for DeRamus in the dirt for ball 1. And that'll be 1-1 the count for DeRamus. Doolittle with the 1-1, and it's hit to Doolittle and thrown out at first base by Abby Brown, and that'll be out number 2 for the Hornets. And coming up, the right fielder, number 5, Alexia Denby. Denby, the sophomore, comes in with a .419 batting average here on the season. First pitch, called ball 1. And the 1-0 is popped up. And the third baseman for Georgia State, Bailey Richardson, brings on the third out for the Hornets.
At the bottom of the first, for your Hornets, we have no runs, no hits, no errors.
And with no runs, no hits, no errors, none left on base, we move to the top of the second inning with your score: Georgia State 1, Alabama State 0.
Joining the AB's circle. The AB's circle off the second inning for Georgia State.
And back live from the Barbara Williams Softball Complex, up to bat for Georgia State as they are in the 6, 7, 8, and 9 part of the lineup, Carolyn Deedy. And the first pitch by Greenlee is called strike. 0-1 the count. The 0-1 is popped back behind our broadcast booth, and the count now will be 0-2 for Deedy. Comes in with a .265 batting average for the junior. And Greenlee with the 0-2, just a little bit high. And count now will be 1-2. And the 1-2 is popped into center field, and that will be out number 1 for the Lady Panthers, caught by the center fielder, Kendall DeRamus.
Now batting, number 2, Emma Yanis.
And up to bat in the bottom part of the lineup, number 2, Emma Yanis. One out for Georgia State. First pitch is called strike 1. And strike number 2. For Yanes. And that was right on the corner of the plate, maybe just a little bit outside, but not by much for Greenlee, as the count now will be 1-2. And the 1-2 is popped back high in the net. And still hanging in there with 2 strikes is Yanes. The 1-2 is popped back high behind us. Count still 1-2. And on strike 2, hit to the shortstop and thrown over to first, but Yanes is safe at first. Up next for Georgia State, number 12, Abby Brown.
Abby Brown.
And the first pitch is called strike number 1. I think Bailey has gotten into a rhythm so far. Still early, top of the second. But she can definitely sling it in there. And the count for Brown is 1-1. And on the 1-1 pitch, then called strike 2. And the 1-2 pitch is fouled back into the net again. And Brown still holding on with a 1-2 count. The 1-2, did she go? The catcher for Alabama State throws it over to second base, and nails the out, and that'll be out number 2. Great job in sync with Ramsey and Gardner. That'll be 2 outs now. That'll be 2 outs for State, Georgia State, excuse me. And the pitch count now 3-2, full count. And the 3-2, did she go? Yes, she did. That will be out number 3 for the Georgia State Panthers. And it will be no runs, 1 hit, no errors, none left on base. We move to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Georgia State still holding on to a 1-0 lead right after this. And welcome back to Alabama State softball here on a warm Tuesday night here at the Barbara Williams softball complex. I believe the temperature right now is about 78 degrees, so it's good weather for softball here in the capital city. Up to bat for Alabama State, number 27, Alex Preston, and Preston knocks it into left field, and she'll get on first base with that big hit. And now up to bat, the pitcher, number 3, Bailey Greenlee. Let's remind our dimensions here at the Barbara Williams softball complex: 225 towards center field and 200 in right and left field. And Bailey tries to go for the bunt, and that will be strike number 1 for the pitcher. And the 0-1 is bunted again by Bailey, and safe at first base is the pitcher. Up to bat in the 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th spot of the lineup. Batting 6th, the shortstop, number 22, Kiana Parrish. And Kiana tries to bunt it, but went a little high there into the net. And that'll be strike number 1 for the Hornets. And Parrish now with the 0-1. And the 0-1 is bunted to the third baseman, and out at first is Parrish. And that'll be out number one. That'll be out number one for the Lady Hornets. Bottom of the second inning. Only one out for the Hornets. Runners at second and third. And up to bat for the Lady Hornets, number 12, first baseman Leah Richardson. Richardson coming in with a .314 batting average. And the first pitch toward Richardson is called strike one. And Doolittle with the 0-1 pitch to Richardson is called strike two. Runner at second and third. Scoring run at third for Alabama State. And the 0-2 is now called ball one. One out for Alabama State. And we hope that you are watching our live stream here today from the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. And the 1-2 pitch is in the dirt for ball number two. Two ways you can catch it. You can go to BamaStateSports.com and follow the link there for the live stream for today's game, or you can just go to YouTube and do a search of Alabama State Sports. And with the 2-2 pitch, almost hit Richardson. And now makes the count 3-2. So definitely two ways that you can find us here as we're broadcasting live from Montgomery. And the 3-2 is popped back into the net. Count still 3-2. The 3-2 is popped into left field, and the left fielder does not get it in time. That'll bring in 2 runs for Alabama State, which now makes the game 2-1 here in the bottom of the second inning. Big hit for Richardson into left field, and that brings up Elizabeth Williams, the third baseman, in the 8th spot. On deck for Alabama State, Jada Gardner, the second baseman. And the first pitch is called strike. And the 0-1 is popped back. Does the first baseman for Georgia State have it? She does not. And she kind of limps up a little bit. Gotta give her the effort on that. As she almost went into the dugout as near the Georgia State bullpen. Count now 0-2. And Williams pops it to the pitcher, does not get it in time, and throws it from the center fielder to third base, and safe at third. Is Richardson. And we're going to bring in Alabama State is going to bring in a pinch runner. Jordan Capel comes in for the Hornets. if I'm not mistaken, it was Jada Gardner who had the walk-off in the Southern game last Thursday to win for the Hornets. And the first pitch is called ball 1. Let's see if Jada can bring Richardson around. And we've also got a runner on first base, the pinch runner. And she tried to go for the bunt. And gets over to second base. Does Capel. She kind of tiptoed and finally got safe at second base. And the count now for Jada is 1-1. And the 1-1 is called strike. 1 out. The 2-1. And she does go swinging. Does Jada for strike number 2. Count now 2-2. And that will be full count for Jada. 3-2 the count. As Alabama State has a runner on second and a runner on third. Scoring run at third. And Jada knocks it to the pitcher and out. At first base is Jada. That'll be 2 outs for Alabama State, which brings up Madison Myers. Batters 1, 2, and 3 all up. And leading off, or at the top of the lineup, is Madison Myers. And Myers goes for the bunt. And they did call Richardson out at home. Richardson had the scoring run. And I know you can hear from the comments from the Alabama State faithful, they thought she was safe at home. But now that brings the score 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. We head to the top of the 3rd inning. Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1.
Leading off the 3rd for Georgia State, number 1, Chloe Middlebrooks.
And back live here in Montgomery, up to bat now for Georgia State is number 1, Chloe Middlebrooks. And the count now 0-1, and she does go swinging. Count now 0-2. And now 0-2 makes strike number 3 for Greenlee. And that'll make the top of the lineup bring the top of the lineup for Georgia State. Number 19, Emily Brown. And we have a raucous crowd here at the softball complex here tonight, as that will be ball 1 for Emily Brown. Let's give a shout out to the Alabama State football team as they're here in attendance for the matchup here tonight. And the count now 2-1 for Brown. Two and one. Strike 2. Strike 2 for Brown. And the 2-2 is hit to the shortstop, and that'll be out number 2 for Brown. And that'll bring up Ashton Schroyer for Georgia State. Greenlee with the first pitch is fouled back near the Alabama State bullpen, and that'll bring strike number 1 for Schroyer. And the 0-1. Did she go? And she did not go. That'll bring ball 1. And the 1-1. Little high there. Up to Schroyer's shoulders. Count still 1-1. And did she go? And that will be strike number 2 for Schroyer. And count 2-2. With 2 outs, here's brought it up a little high for Greenlee. That'll be ball 3. Full count for Schroyer. And the 3-2. And that'll be ball 4 for Schroyer. And that'll bring her over to first base and bring up Chloe Nadler for Georgia State.
Number 9, Chloe Nadler.
And with 2 outs, first pitch is popped up. Can the first baseman get it? Well, it brings over the second baseman for the backup, Jada Gardner, and that'll make 3 outs for Georgia State as we've got a raucous team, or a raucous football team over here near the Georgia State dugout.
Bottom of the third for Georgia State.
And with no runs, no hits, no errors, one left on base, we'll take you to the bottom of the third inning. Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1. And back live here at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex, Joseph Moore bringing you to the bottom of the third inning. As up to bat is the center fielder, number 1, Kendall Doremus. And the first pitch for Doremus is ball 1. And the 1-0 is popped past the batting cages, and that'll be strike number 1 for Doremus. And with the 1-1 pitch, that'll send Doremus over to first and out at first. And that'll bring up the right fielder, number 5, Alexia Denby. And with the first pitch, popped into center field. And that'll be out number 2 for the Lady Hornets. And up to bat with a .344 batting average, the designated hitter, number 27, Alex Preston. 2 outs for the Hornets here in the bottom of the third inning. And the first pitch for Preston is ball number 1. And with the 1-0 pitch, now called strike 1. And the 1-1 is popped again into center field and caught by the center fielder, Emily Brown, for out number 3. And that will be 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 errors, none left on base. We move to the top of the 4th inning. Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1. And welcome back to the capital city.
Leading off the fourth for Georgia State. Number
Leading
6,
off
Bailey Richardson.
here in the top of the fourth. Number 6, third baseman Bailey Richardson for Georgia State. And the first pitch by Greenlee is called strike. Top of the fourth inning, no outs. Alabama State holding on to a 2-1 lead over the Georgia State Panthers. Greenlee with the 0-1 is called ball. Count now 1-1. The 1-1 just a little bit outside for Greenlee, and that'll be 2-1 for Richardson at bat. And the 2-1 to Richardson is popped up into left field, and that'll be out number 1 for Georgia State here in the top of the fourth.
Now batting, number 3, J.C. Goodwin.
And up next for Georgia State, number 3, J.C. Goodwin. And the first pitch swung wildly, and that'll make the count 0-1 for Goodwin. Greenlee with the 0-1 to Goodwin, and that'll be ball 1. Count now 1-1 with 1 out. And the next pitch by Goodwin hit to left field at the wall, and that'll be out number 2 for Georgia State.
Now batting, number 14, Carolyn Beatty.
And now up to bat, the junior, number 14 catcher, Carolyn Deedy. 2 outs for the Panthers. And the first pitch is popped up and hit to the left side of the Alabama State dugout. And the count now 0-1. The 0-1 to Deedy. Man, oh man. I think that might have been right there. But the count now will be 1-1. And the next pitch is called strike. Count now 1-2. Greenlee with a pitch to Deedy in the dirt. 2-2 the count with 2 outs. Top of the fourth inning. Full count. And Greenlee with the 2-2 to Deedy. And it is popped up and caught by the shortstop. And that will be 3 up. Well, correction there. At the top of the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on base. 3 up, 3 down for the Hornets as we move to the bottom of the fourth inning. Your score, Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1. Right back after this. And welcome back to Montgomery. And up to bat for Alabama State, the pitcher, Bailey Greenlee. And the first pitch to Greenlee is fouled back past the third base line. And that'll be strike number 2 for the pitcher. The 0-1 to Greenlee is fouled back, and that'll put 2 strikes on Bailey. And the 0-2 is fouled back. Still 2 strikes on Greenlee. The 0-2 is hit to the shortstop and out at first base for Greenlee. And that'll be out number 1. And up to bat for the Lady Hornets, number 22, shortstop, Kiana Parrish. And the first pitch to Parrish is ball 1. And Doolittle with the 1-0 pitch is now called strike. 1-1 the count. And the 1-1 missed by the second baseman, and Parrish makes her way to first. And up to bat in the 7th spot, number 12, Leah Richardson. And coming in to pinch run is number 25, Janiyah Boykin. And first pitch for Richardson is called ball one. And the next pitch, ball two. And Doolittle with the 2-0 pitch is called strike. And the 2-1 is called ball three. A little bit outside. And the 3-1 will walk Richardson. And in the 8th spot for the Alabama State Hornets, the junior third baseman, number 20, Elizabeth Williams. And we've got a little conference here. And it looks like Georgia State is going to send in a new pitcher. And they will bring in number 25, sophomore Hallie Adams. And right now Adams is warming up in the pitcher circle. And we've got a pinch runner also coming in for Alabama State. That will be number 24, Zoe Disrow.
Running for the Hornets at first base, number 24, Zoe Disrow.
And the first pitch by Adams is called ball. The 1-0 is called strike one for Williams. And the 1-1, strike number two Williams with a .625 batting average. And now with the 1-2. Strike number 3, my goodness. And I can tell by the movement that she said coming into the dugout, I guess it kind of fell down and then came back up with some of the pitches that she was throwing. But that'll be 2 outs for the Hornets. And bring up Jada Gardner. And the first pitch is called strike. And the 0-1. Ball number 1. Still have two runners on base at first and second. And the 1-1. Strike number 2 for Gardner. And the 1-2 is ball number 2. And Adams with the 2-2. Ball 3, full count for Gardner. And the 3-2. Catches her swinging. And that'll be strike number 3 for Georgia State as we move to the top of the 5th inning with no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on base. We again move to the top of the 5th inning. Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1. And welcome back to the capital city as Emma Yanez hits the ball into the left field, but foul territory, and that'll make the count 0-1. And Greenlee with the 0-1. Woo! My goodness. Just outside the corner of the plate, ball 1. Greenlee with the 1-1. High and outside for ball 2. And the 2-1. Low in the dirt, ball 3. Three and 1. And popped up by Giannis. And hit to the left fielder for the Hornets, Madison Myers, and that will bring out number 1 for Georgia State.
Number 12, Abby Brown.
And coming up to bat next will be Abby Brown in the 8th spot. And the first pitch is hit to the third baseman for Alabama State, and that'll be in foul territory for strike 1. The 0-1, a little bit high there for ball 1. And the 0-1 count is called ball 2. And Greenlee with the 2-1 to Brown. A little bit high again, ball number 3. The 3-1. A little high there, and that will walk Abby Brown to first base. And that'll bring, still in the bottom of their lineup in the 9th spot, number 1, Chloe Middlebrooks. And the first pitch is fouled back for strike 1. And Chloe tried to bunt there. Now the count 1-1. And the 1-1 is bunted to the third baseman and thrown back to first. But Brown is still safe at first. 2 outs for the Georgia State Panthers. And the first pitch is fouled back. Count now 0-1 for Emily Brown. 305 batting average for the senior. And on the second pitch is bunted to Greenlee and thrown to first. And with no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base, Alabama State leads Georgia State 2-1. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning right after this. And back live in the capital city, Alabama State at the top of their lineup right now with Madison Myers up to bat. And the first pitch by Adams is ball one. And the second pitch is ball two. And Adams with the 2-0. Just outside the corner of the plate. Low and outside for ball number 3. Bottom of the third inning, 2-1 your score. Alabama State with the lead. And the 3-0 pitch is strike one. Is now strike one. And the 3-1 just outside, and that'll walk Myers to first base and bring up Kendall DeRamus.
Now batting, number 1, Kendall DeRamus.
Got a runner on first with Kendall DeRamus up to bat. And the catcher for Georgia State tries to get Myers out at second, but Myers steals second base and puts her in position to bring her on around. Count 1-0 for DeRamus. And way outside there for ball number 2. Adams with the 2-0 to DeRamus. And the count now 2-1. The 2-1 swings by DeRamus, makes strike number 2. The 2-2 makes strike number 3 for Georgia State, and that will send DeRamus back to the bench and bring up the right fielder, number 5, Alexia Denby, with a .419 batting average. And the first pitch to Denby is fouled back. Make the count 0-1. And the 0-1 is popped up to the pitcher, and that'll make out number 2 for Alabama State. And that will bring up the designated hitter, number 27, Alex Preston. 2 outs for the Hornets. Bottom of the 5th inning, still holding on to a 2-1 lead. And the first pitch for Preston is called ball 1. Still have a runner on second for the Lady Hornets. The 1-0 count. The 1-0 pitch is called ball 2. And the 2-0 pitch. Two and one the count. And the 2-1 pitch, just high. Make the count 3-1. The 3-1, and that will walk Alex Preston for ball number 4, reset the count, and bring up the pitcher, number 3, Bailey Greenlee. Alabama State with 2 outs, bottom of the 5th inning, with a runner on first and second. And the first pitch for Bailey, hit to center field, and that will be out number 3 for Alabama State. And at the bottom of the 5th inning, with no runs, no hits, no errors, 2 left on base, we move to the top of the 6th inning with Alabama State 2, Georgia State 1. And welcome back for more of Alabama State football here in the capital city at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. Joseph Moore here, and Georgia State up to bat as Bailey Greenlee throws ball 1. To number 7, Ashton Schroyer. And the 1-0 pitch, high and inside for ball number 2. And the 2-0, just outside the corner to my left of the plate. That'll be ball number 3. Great crowd on hand for a Tuesday night softball game here in the capital city on campus of Alabama State University. Bailey with a high pitch just over the head of Schroyer, and that'll make ball number 4 as Schroyer goes to first. And that will bring up Chloe Nadler, the second baseman. To the right of us here in the press box, we've got several Alabama State football players on hand here tonight supporting the Lady Hornets. And they have definitely been letting everyone know that they are here tonight. And the first pitch by Greenlee is bunted, thrown to first, and out is Chloe Nadler. And that'll bring up next the third baseman in the 4th spot for Georgia State, Bailey Richardson. 1 out for Georgia State. And the first pitch thrown by Greenlee to Richardson is strike 1. And the 0-1 pitch is fouled back outside of left field. And that'll bring strike number 2. And the 0-2 is fouled back. Fouled back by Richardson. 2 strikes, 1 out. And Greenlee with the 0-2, fouled back again. Still 2 strikes. And Greenlee with the 0-2, fouled back again. Just tipped the bat. Still with 2 strikes. And the 0-2 is hit over to the shortstop, thrown to first base in time for the out. And that'll be 2 outs for Georgia State with a scoring run on third.
Number 3, J.C. Goodwin.
And up to bat, the designated hitter with a .312 batting average, J.C. Goodwin. And the first pitch by Greenlee is called strike. I can't help but get tickled over here with this, but and the 0-1 high and outside for ball 1. And the 1-1 popped up past the Alabama State dugout, probably outside of the park, for strike 2. And if you hear the sound in our crowd mic here, we've got the Alabama State football players supporting our softball team here tonight. The 1-2 pitch. Hit number 3, J.C. Goodwin, and with a little bit of a sarcastic toss of the bat near the football players, that moves her over to first base.
Number 14, Carolyn Deedy.
And up to bat for Georgia State, number 14, the catcher, junior, Carolyn Deedy. Still 2 outs for Georgia State. And the first pitch by Greenlee is called strike 1, but that moves J.C. Goodwin over to second base. Scoring run at third with 2 outs. And the 0-1 by Greenlee to Deedy is called strike 2. Need this one right here, Bailey. You got 2 outs and 2 strikes on Deedy. It'd be nice to leave the 2 runners on the bags heading into the bottom of the 6th. And the 1-2 pitch. 1-2 the count, 2 outs. And the 1-2 is hit to the third baseman. The third baseman bobbles the ball. That sends in a runner by Georgia State. And that will now make the score 2-2 in the top of the 6th. And with 2 outs, Bailey just needs to calm down here. She throws great pitches. It's time to sit the runner down with 2 outs. And the first pitch is called strike 1. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Score now tied at 2 with a runner on first and second. And the next pitch is popped up, and that will be strike number 3 for Alabama State. And with 1 run, no hits, 1 error, 2 left on base, we move to the bottom of the 6th inning with your score, Alabama State 2, Georgia State 2. And welcome back to the Capital City tie ball game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Alabama State 2, Georgia State 2. And up to bat for the Lady Hornets, number 22, Kiana Parrish. And the first pitch is called ball 1. Need some runs right here. And the 1-0 pitch is called strike. Adams with the 1-1 now. Parrish with the 1-1, excuse me. Adams with the 1-1 to Parrish. And that will be fouled back for strike number 2. And the 1-1 pitch is popped up and caught by the shortstop for out number 1.
Now back, number 12, Leah Richardson.
And up to bat in the 7th spot with a .300 batting average, first baseman number 12, Leah Richardson. And the first pitch is called ball 1. And that makes the count now 1-1 as Richardson strikes there, swings for a strike. And Adams with the 1-1. A little high there. Makes the count 2-1. And the 2-1 is called strike 2. That must have been right on the corner there of the plate. Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th. And the 2-2 is called ball 3. Full count for Richardson. And fouled back. Does Richardson. Still 3-2. And the 3-2 hits Richardson. And that will send Richardson to first base. And in the 8th spot for Alabama State, third baseman number 20, Elizabeth Williams. And it looks like Alabama State's going to bring in a pinch runner to first base, and that will be number 4, Lauren Maher.
First base for the Hornets, number 4, Lauren Maher.
And the first pitch by Adams is called ball 1. Adams with the 1-0. Inside for strike 1. And the 1-0 is hit to right field and dropped by the right fielder. Thrown over to first, thrown over to third, and safe. At third base is Lauren Maher. And that will be time.
Number 14, Jada Gardner.
With 1 out. That brings up number 14, Jada Gardner. And coming in for Jada, coming in for the pinch runner, number 21, Alana Scott. I think we've even got the Jeopardy theme song. I mean, they're not going to finish it? And coming up to bat for Alabama State will be number 14, Jada Gardner. Got the scoring run on third. And that brings the steal by the pinch runner, Alana Scott, over to second base. And the 1-0 pitch is fouled back for strike one. The 1-1. Kind of reached for it there. That'll be strike two. The 1-2, strike three by Adams. And that will bring Alabama State back to the top of the lineup with Madison Myers coming up to bat. Two outs for Alabama State. Bottom of the sixth inning. Need these runs right here. And that'll be ball number one for Myers. Got a runner on second base, runner on third for the score. And the next pitch is called strike one. Count now 1-1 with two outs. And the 1-1 bunted back. Strike two. And Adams with the 1-1. Catches her swinging. My goodness. And with three outs in the bottom of the sixth, no runs, no hits, one error, and two left on base, we'll move to the top of the sixth inning. Score tied at 2 between Georgia State and Alabama State. Right back after this. And back live here in Montgomery, Joseph Moore taking you to the Top of the 7th inning, Georgia State 2, Alabama State 2. Madison Britt has moved into first base for the Lady Hornets, and that will bring also up to bat number 12, Abby Brown. And that will be out number 1 for Madison Britt at first, as the ball was knocked into foul territory, and she made her way over to the dugout for the catch.
Number 1, Chloe Middlebrooks.
And up to bat, bottom of the lineup for Georgia State, Chloe Middlebrooks. And that ball is hit to the center fielder, and that'll be out number 2. Hit to Kendall Doremus in center field. That's 2 up, 2 down right now for Georgia State. And up to bat for Georgia State at the top of the lineup is Emily Brown. And with 2 outs, the first pitch thrown to Brown is ball 1. The 1-0 by Greenlee is now 2-0. And Greenlee with a 2-0. Does she go? Yes, she does. And that will be 2-1 the count with 2 outs. Georgia State 2, Alabama State 2. And the 2-1 is now 2-2. Or, excuse me, 3-1 the count. And the 3-1 to Brown is hit past the second and shortstop to center field, and that will put Brown on first.
Now batting, number 7, Ashton Schroyer.
And now up to bat the freshman, Ashton Schroyer. And the pitching coach is coming in to talk to the infield here. We'll see if they'll keep Emily in the game, or excuse me, Bailey in the game. And the game has resumed. They will keep Bailey in the game. And with 2 outs, first pitch is thrown. And that will bring over Brown to second base. The 1-0 is called strike. 2 outs for Georgia State, top of the 7th inning. Greenlee with the 1-1 and fouled back for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 7th. Got a runner on second base. Greenlee with the 1-2. In the dirt for ball 2. Greenlee with the 2-2. Does she go? She does not. And that'll be full count here in the top of the 7th. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs for Georgia State. And a runner on second. The 3-2 is hit into left field and caught by Madison Myers, and that will be 3 outs for Georgia State as we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. Georgia State had no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning with your score tied at 2 between Georgia State and Alabama State. And back live here in the capital city, Georgia State and Alabama State. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning as the score tied at 2 with Georgia State and Alabama State. And up to bat in the second spot of the lineup for Alabama State, number 1, center fielder Kendall Doremus. Count 1-0. And now the count 1-1. The 1-1 is popped over towards the bullpen. Count now 1-2 for Doremus. And the 1-2 is fouled back. Doremus still in it. Count still 1-2 with no outs. Bottom of the 7th inning. Score 2-2. And the 1-2 popped over the net here at the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. Doremus still in it with the count 1-2. And the 1-2 pitch is hit to the center fielder for Georgia State, and that'll be 1 out for Alabama State. And coming up, number 5, right fielder Alexia Denby. And the first pitch for Denby is called strike 1. And the 0-1 pitch is hit to the third baseman, and out at first is Denby, and that will be out number 2 for the Lady Hornets.
Number 27, Alex Preston.
And coming up for the Lady Hornets, number 27, Alex Preston. And the first pitch is called ball 1 for Preston. And the second pitch by Adams, ball 2. And the 2-0 is called ball 3. 3-0 the count with 2 outs. And the 3-0 called strike 1. And the 3-1 pitch is fouled back. Full count for Preston. And the 3-2 with 2 outs, 3-2 the count. Here at the bottom of the 7th, no runs, no hits, no errors, none left on base. We move to the top of the 8th inning. Your score, Georgia State 2, Alabama State 2. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back live to the capital city. Up next, as we go into extra innings, up to bat, Chloe Nadler for Georgia State. And we were discussing up here in the press box just a second ago that Georgia State has decided not to put a runner at second base to get the run in here in extra innings. And Chloe Nadler hits a line drive over to left field, and that will put her at first base. And next up to bat for the Panthers, Bailey Richardson. Here in extras. And the first pitch by Bailey is called ball one. And the 1-0. And Nadler goes over to second base for the steal. And the 2-0 is hit into left center and caught. And tries to get the ball thrown over to third base. And the scoring run is on third for the Panthers. One out for Georgia State. No balls, no strikes right now. Scoring run at third. And the first pitch by Greenlee is popped out with a base hit to left field, and that will bring in a scoring run, making the score now Georgia State 3, Alabama State 2 in the top of the eighth.
Number 14, Carolyn Deedy.
And now up to bat for Georgia State in the sixth spot, number 14, the catcher, Carolyn Deedy. And popped up by Deedy to the second baseman, and that'll be out number 2 for the Panthers as they have the lead 3-2 in the top of the eighth with 2 outs. And the first pitch is called fair. And the home plate umpire calls it foul. And we'll have to come back and do it, and Georgia State will have to come back and do it again. Up to bat number 2, Emma Yanez. And fouled back again for strike 2. And hit by Yanez, and that will be out number 3 at the top of the eighth with 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on base. We move to the bottom of the eighth inning with Georgia State 3, Alabama State 2. And back live here in Montgomery for the bottom of the 8th inning for Alabama State. And Bailey Greenlee will lead it off here for the Hornets. And the first pitch is hit to the third baseman, and that'll be out number 1 as Bailey hits it over to the third baseman. And up to bat now, number 22, the shortstop, Kiana Parrish. And the first pitch is called ball 1. And the first pitch and the second pitch just out low and outside for ball 2. And the 2-0 pitch is called ball 3. And that will walk Kiana Parrish for ball 4.
Now batting, number 13, Madison Britt.
And now up to bat, number 13, Madison Britt. And Adams with the first pitch, and that will be strike 1 for Britt. And Adams with the second pitch, just outside for ball 1. And the 1-1 is popped up. Did she catch that? She did catch that for out number 2. Wow, what a catch. I got to give it to number 7 with the catch for out number 2. And I think Coach Bradley is trying to argue if that was the fence maybe gave the advantage there, but as he walks over to the first base umpire, we'll see what the call is. I'm assuming they're thinking that and she is called out. Coach Bradley was trying to argue if the fence may have caused some interference there. But out number 2 for the Lady Hornets with 2 outs. And the first pitch on the corner of the plate is called strike 1. Elizabeth Williams up to bat. For the Hornets with 2 strikes and 2 outs. And popped up and hits the corner, or hits the side of the Georgia State dugout for 2 strikes. Still 2 strikes. And the 0-2. High and outside for ball 1. And Brown with the 1-2. Pop back. Still in it with 2 strikes is Williams. Excuse me, number 21, Alana Scott. Correction there. And with 2 strikes, hit to the third baseman, and that will be the end of the ball game.
That's the end of the game. Final score.
And your final score here from the Barbara Williams Softball Complex. In 8 innings, Georgia State 3, Alabama State 2. For Joseph Moore, stay tuned to the Bama State Sports website for upcoming games and for all the action. And you can watch this game on demand either by going to the Alabama State Sports YouTube page and seeing all the action from tonight's game. In 8 innings, Georgia State 3, Alabama State 2. For Joseph Moore, we'll see you next time.